Welcome back. We are now in the second video of the Manhood series. The first video focused on accountability. The second video will be an in-depth discussion of the quality of discipline. So as I was doing my research for this episode of the Manhood series, I found that discipline in many situations is synonymous with punishment. But now, for the purposes of our discussion, discipline is a positive quality. We're not going to equate it with anything negative, and as the discussion goes along, you'll understand what I mean. So now, Wikipedia had a very, very nice definition of discipline, and it reads, discipline is an action or inaction that is regulated to be in accordance or to achieve accord with a particular system of governance. So it's an action or it's an inaction that allows you to be in harmony with all of the things around you. So it allows you to look at the outside world and find peace with it. Well, as we mentioned, discipline a lot of times is connected with punishment. So how can you be on an accord with the things around you by using discipline? Well, as we mentioned, in regards to accountability, every goal that you set for yourself, the only way that you can get to that goal is through difficulty. And sometimes those difficulties are self-imposed, and sometimes they happen because of unexpected events in your life. So now, how does discipline help you with those unexpected events? Well, it's never a possibility for us to know what's coming our way. We can't tell the future, so we don't know if tomorrow things will be different for us. But we can control the way that we respond when things become difficult. So really, our whole mindset, we require a proper attitude to look at any situation that we're in. And so to have a positive attitude, no matter what situation you find yourself in, requires discipline. So now if you think about it, doing the things that you need to do and not being pushed away from your focus, not being distracted, it requires discipline. The ability to focus primarily on what you have to do and to take action or inaction that's in accord with helping you reach that particular goal. So now, one thing we'll notice about an individual who has discipline, more than likely, it's a cycle. If you cultivate inner discipline, then it will manifest on the outside. And then many times if you cultivate discipline on the outside, then it has a profound inner effect on you. So what do I mean? Many times, individuals who lead a very stressful and a very in-demand lifestyle, you'll notice that they have a regular regimen of physical exercise. Why is that important? Well, they've disciplined themselves to maintain that particular regimen of exercise. And that regimen of exercise does two things. First, it releases chemicals in the body that lighten the mood. So when an individual goes and does some kind of physical activity, the stress, the difficulty they have during the day, that seems to just go away. It floats away. And that's because of the chemicals that are released as a result of physical activity. But then also, when you begin to train your body, to discipline your body in a way that is helpful to you, then you start to realize that discipline is effective not just on the exterior, but then it has an effect on the interior also. Because as you go about your fitness journey, many people, they want to lose weight, they want to tone up, they want to become physically fit. As your body begins to take on a different appearance, then you start to gain self-esteem. Self-esteem leads to confidence. And then confidence helps you to go out into the world and face anything that you have to face with a positive attitude because you believe in your mind that you're equal to anything that comes upon you. So, yes, discipline is very necessary. It helps us to reach our goals, and it helps us to do so in a fearless way. So, one of the core principles of manhood is, as we mentioned, discipline. So, now discipline, it shows itself in several ways. We're going to talk about 3 ways during the course of the video. The first way is development of attitude. So now what you'll notice is that a person who is not capable of disciplining his mind, he can cause harm to himself and those around him. So why do we say that? So now, as far as individuals who you meet in your day-to-day life, now let's say especially at your job, there are individuals at your job that you encounter when given a project. What is their first response? Do you know someone who, no matter what happens, that person can always pull the negative out of a situation? They can always find something wrong. They can always draw a conclusion that's the worst conclusion that could possibly be drawn. I'm sure you know some people like that because I do. So those individuals have not disciplined themselves. Their mind is not disciplined. Their way of thinking is not disciplined. And so, as we mentioned, it affects not only themselves, but it affects those around them. So really, discipline is a conscious state of mind. You're conscious in the fact that you are aware of what's going on around you. Not only that, but you choose to look at the positive despite the things that are going on around you. So in order for a person to react properly when difficulties come their way, they have to have a disciplined attitude. See, if you adopt the right attitude through training your mind, through looking at things from a positive perspective, see, this is an important skill to develop when you go out into society, because if you develop discipline and that discipline has geared your mind toward the positive, then more than not, you will be the individual who will be able to focus and finish whatever task you're given, no matter how difficult it may be, because your positive attitude is keeping you focused on accomplishing your goal. Yes, you discipline your mind so that you can proceed in a positive fashion towards your goals. So now we talked about discipline helping to develop an individual's attitude in a positive way. But now, what about focus? How does discipline affect your focus? Well, it's been scientifically proven that, as we mentioned, physical exercise helps a person to think more positively, right? So as you're training the exterior, you're also training the interior man. You're helping the interior man to get confidence. You're helping the interior man to focus on goals. And so really what you're doing is you're aligning your mind and your body. And so after you had that alignment done, now you can point an aligned body and an aligned mind toward a central goal. And so that's how discipline helps an individual to maintain focus. You see the outcome that you want to have because you're taking accountability. And so now you discipline yourself so that the actions that you take befit the positive goal that you have set. Not only that, but it helps you to accomplish that goal. And then after you accomplish that goal, then your self-esteem begins to rise even more, and you'll seek out other things to accomplish. And you'll continue to accomplish things on a regular basis because you're focused. So now, the third thing that we'll discuss is that discipline helps with your mental health. Now, I told you at the beginning, the first video we ever made for the King's Gene channel, that I am an engineer, not a psychiatrist, not a psychologist. And so I really had to delve into the information to see what was the point of it. But in our society today, one of the conditions that really plague us, especially during this pandemic, is anxiety and depression. But now, if we have a disciplined mind and a disciplined body, then see, we can improve upon those circumstances. Because you see, discipline helps us to have what they call self-control. And so individuals who have poor self-control are more prone to having panic attacks because they have no discipline to keep their mind in a positive space. And so the panic attacks lead to undesirable consequences, and then those undesirable consequences become a long-standing memory in the person's mind, and the cycle just keeps going round and round and round. It's a closed loop, if you will. But now, where discipline comes in is that it keeps your mind free of negative thoughts, negative feelings. It keeps you from being stagnated. A person who is disciplined is always moving because they're always pursuing their goal because they're focused. And they're trying to get to a certain point in life, whether it be financially, whether it be as far as their health, whether it be in spirituality. They're always moving forward because they have a goal that they're striving after. Then that tends to keep their minds occupied with positive thoughts. Because you see, thoughts can create obstructions. And an obstruction is a barrier that prevents you from getting to where you need to be. So if you have an obstruction either socially or mentally or academically, it would be my suggestion that you work on disciplining your mind so that you can focus. And if you're able to focus on the goal that you have set, you can move those obstructions out of the way. You can take those things and push them to the side, because you realize that in the course of life, all of the things that you have to go through that may be negative can always be overcome with a positive attitude. Because if you're negative, you'll allow those things to keep you in place. But if you have a goal that you're striving toward, you've disciplined yourself to achieve that goal, you're going to constantly be moving, you're going to constantly be going forward, and it's not going to be anything that will be able to stop you. So now, a disciplined mind, like I mentioned, is able to move those obstructions, those barriers away, and clear a path to their goal. So now, in conclusion, what can we say? Well, we can say that discipline is necessary, especially for men. It's one of the main qualities of manhood. It helps us to develop a positive mental attitude. As a result of disciplining ourselves, we increase our focus because we have a goal in mind, and we're aligning our mind and our body so that we can reach that goal. And then it improves our physical health because we are less likely to be prone to depression and anxiety because we, as it were, take things in stride. We're not affected by negative thoughts to the point that they cause us to stop and to be paralyzed. We're continually moving. And because we have this forward momentum, we're able to hurdle those different difficulties, those different obstacles and obstructions. And then we see that discipline is a conscious attitude. Yes, we are aware of the things that are going on around us. We're not blind to them. But what we choose to do, we choose to look at a constructive way to come at the world, to embrace the things that may be causing us difficulty so that they don't slow us down, but they add to our momentum. And so, as we mentioned, discipline is the second emotion, the second character trait, the second notion that's part of manhood. So if we were to look at discipline in relation to accountability, as we mentioned, is establishing a goal in mind and then taking on responsibility and then coming up with a reliable solution that will help us to fulfill our responsibility. discipline comes in the fulfilling of that responsibility, because we have trained ourselves with a positive mindset to continue to move forward in a positive direction, and we won't let anything, no obstruction, no difficulty, no problem, slow us down or get in our way. So the two are very instrumental to anyone who's pursuing positive masculinity, or as we mentioned, manhood. And we think that individuals who take discipline and put it into their lifestyle, you'll surely benefit from it. So no, discipline doesn't have to do with punishment, but it has to do with being able to either take action or inaction to bring ourselves in harmony or accord with the things around us. And surely if an individual is able to do that even in difficult circumstances, they absolutely will have success. So we thank you for joining us. Next week, we will consider the last notion, principle, quality in the Manhood series, and that is determination. Once again, thank you for joining us. Like, comment, and subscribe. Be easy.